This is episode 32 of Hardly Qualified. Whatever. With Maia and the Working Man. For 30th of August, 2013. Have you ever sat around in a pub and chatted into the wee hours of the night? Ever considered the world in ways you've never before thought about, and then shared it with your friends? Welcome to Hardly Qualified, a weekly podcast recorded in Calgary, Alberta, where Will Connor and his friend Ducky get together to wax philosophical about whatever suits their fancy. With the occasional guest, they discuss society and culture, following random threads of thought wherever they may lead. So pull up a chair, grab a drink, and join the conversation, because you never know, you might be hardly qualified too. Let's get started.
Hi, Maia.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah. Bit tired.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's once again like 3:30 a.m. here, so.
Well, thanks for staying up for the troops.
Yeah, no problem. It's not like I sleep anyway, yeah.
How's it going, Tommy?
Being a working man is a hard work.
Yeah, that's somewhat redundant.
I know, but oh well. It's crazy at work, that's all I can say. And it's just getting busier and busier. And that's all I'm gonna say. The flood. It's all about the flood right now.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I hear that your boss gave you a laptop and asked you to take it home if you had any free time to...
I don't know if I want to talk about it. Yeah, let's just leave it as is. How about
And
that?
how are you, Ducky?
I'm exhausted.
Oh, we haven't heard that voice for a while.
This week, these last 2 weeks is just like we're moving out at the end of the month, right? And by we, I mean everybody else is gone except for me because I've been moving them out for the last 2 weeks.
Right?
And like on what was it? Last week it was. No, it would have been this week. I don't even know what date it is. Sunday, we spent disassembling my computer table and moving it to my new house. Monday, we spent going through the entire place, finding everything that nobody wants, and throwing it in the back of the truck and taking it to the dump. We went to the dump. Took 2.5 trips to clear out all the freaking garbage we had in this house. Well, let me rephrase it. All the shit that we don't want. And
Not much of a distinction, but okay.
yeah. And in the midst of doing all that, I decided to pull all the boxes that I had moved into this house with and had unpacked 7 years ago away from the wall in the corner of my house in my room, and found 3 feet of black mold crawling up the inside of the walls.
Oh,
Yeah, so, I don't know, that was fun, yeah, so. I figured if all that shit it's all covered in black mold now anyway, but if it's still in boxes 8 years after I moved in, I probably didn't need it. And just opening up and going through with it, it was like a VCR, and there was like a broken subwoofer, and a hard hat from my days of construction, and...
Sorry, what's a VCR?
Come on now, you're not that young.
And shit from my old girlfriends. Like, I got boxes and boxes of, like, papers and footwear and clothes and shit. I'm just like, how did I end up with all this crap? And, I found a crate of old VHS tapes. I had, like,
Right.
I had the Alien Quadrilogy and the Matrix trilogy on VHS. I'm like, is it really...
Trilogy? How
Yeah,
did you
like-
have the entire trilogy of Matrix on VHS?
I don't know, but I was like...
Did they still do VHS when the last Matrix movie came out?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can still get VHS nowadays if you want to, but...
Really?
I mean, yeah, most people don't, right? You have to special order them. It's
Yeah,
not
but
like you
they don't release anything new on VHS.
No, they don't. It's all either DVD or Blu-ray, but... I mean, it's... I was about to say, you could always go down to Blockbuster and just get them to special order one for you, but I guess you can't even do that anymore, can you?
Probably not.
Yeah, no movie stores left. It's either
Yeah.
Amazon or Netflix, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess...
sometimes you can get VHS on Amazon.
But
Used
yeah.
ones, old ones.
It just reminds me when I was living in Josh's house back then. I had the VCR set up on my computer table and with the TV, and I record 4 hours of television every day. It was like Law and Order and Without a Trace, and there was a couple other things. And I remember I had friends would come over and we'd have every day we'd sit down and watch like 3 hours of TV.
We had so many movies on VHS like that we'd recorded from TV. I think we had something like 300 tapes or something. And my mum had like an Excel sheet with all the list.
Excel
like,
sheets?
Yeah, like every video, every VHS had a number, and then she had a numbered Excel sheet with which movies was on which tape. Because there were more movies on each. There were like 2 movies on each tape.
You used to be able to record upwards of 6 hours on them if you did it at different speeds.
Yeah, there were about
Yeah.
4 hours. The ones
Oh,
we
yeah.
had. And then there were the ones that were marked with red marker. Because I was a kid back then. The ones that were marked with red marker, they were the ones I wasn't allowed to watch. Like they were Rosemary's Baby and Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that.
Right.
It just sounds like a better system than my parents had, because my parents used to record a show, write it on the tape, and then like 6 months later they'd record another show and they'd cross out the first one and write a new name on it, and you'd end up with like this tape that had like 17 names crossed off on it, and they're all written, covered with sticky notes everywhere, trying to figure out where the hell, right? I'm like, so
We had to have our own tapes
yeah,
with our name on it. I remember my dad had this one tape that had the opening ceremonies from the Calgary '88 Winter Olympics on it, and you had to put the little piece of tape over the hole
yeah.
so that it wouldn't record.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
doing that?
yeah.
We had a tape with...
Well, I think actually if you take out that thing, then it will not record. But if you actually put the tape back on...
Yeah, then you can record. That's how it was. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, well, sorry.
We had...
Yeah, I think you had to break a tab off or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the what is it, 91, 92 something performance of Pink Floyd's The Wall from Berlin, from like just after the fall of the Berlin Wall, on tape. And I used to watch that when I was about 4 years old. It was my favourite movie.
Didn't the wall come down in
Right.
'89? I remember seeing that on TV.
And I don't remember exactly when anything, but they did a performance at least in like in the early 90s.
Oh my, you're
Sort
so
of
young.
How old are you?
I was born in 1946.
46? Okay.
Or how old is Maya? Were you asking for
Yeah,
that?
that's what I was
Oh,
asking.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah.
Well, if she was 4 in 1991, that means she was born in '88, which would make her what? 26?
Oh, God.
25.
I'm feeling
25.
old. 25.
Yeah.
Gee. Do you know what a cassette tape is?
Yes.
I'm kidding.
She's a musician, she would know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. There you go.
No, I had lots of cassette tapes. I had so many cassette tapes with like lots of stuff on them. I had a Walkman when I was a kid. I listened to cassettes on my Walkman in the car. It was really cool.
I remember when when I got my first car, it had a tape deck in it, but I didn't have my Walkman anymore. All I had was a Discman. So we had to get one of those like little converters that you could actually plug into the ear jack on a Discman, and it was like a cassette tape on the other end that you could put into the tape deck.
I had one of those.
Right, so you could like play the CDs from your Discman through your car stereo if it was a tape deck. Nowadays, you just pull out your iPod and plug it into the USB jack,
Yeah.
but
Right.
or connect by Bluetooth. But
But we all know what happens to a cassette tape that you leave in the car for too long, right?
yeah,
Nope.
It turns into Queen's Greatest Hits automatically, all by itself. It's magic. Any tape left in a car for more than 2 weeks turns into Queen's Greatest Hits.
I remember when it used to be quite the thing where their cars would get broken into and their entire tape collection would be stolen.
Aww.
They really?
Yeah.
Stealing
Yeah, some people would carry like these binders or boxes or whatever.
no, they were
kind of
binders.
boxes
Yeah,
with,
like they had like
100
plastic
cases.
sleeves, and you could put 6 to a sheet or 8 to a sheet or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then you could do that with CDs too. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had a CD
For some
binder.
reason, this. Yeah, those seems to be like a distant memory now.
And we-
Like really.
We have one now with like because the car that we've been borrowing to go on road trips and stuff. My boyfriend's grandparents' car is it has a CD player but it doesn't have CD. You can't hook up an MP3 player or anything to it. So we've been burning out CDs and listening to CDs in the car. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's got an
Just really
auxiliary
retro.
jack on the front, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I remember having a Panasonic Discman or whatever it was called, the CD player, and it had a 30-second anti-skip
Yeah.
memory, and it was
buffer,
shockproof
yeah,
and-
shockproof
Oh,
buffer.
yeah.
I had one of those.
I remember
Sony,
those.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
you
Sony-
could walk, but you couldn't walk too fast because if you did, you'd run out the memory.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because it was one of the things you like to do. You look at it and you see like the little circular bands that would represent how much sound it's got saved up in the memory. And if you shook the
Yeah.
disc, you could see the bands go down as the music played, but it wasn't loading new from the CD. And then you stopped, and you could see the bands fill back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a mini disc. That was really
Yeah,
cool.
those
It
were
was
big
really
in
cool,
Europe.
disc. You felt really futuristic when you were popping it.
I
Like,
know.
It made like a kind of sound, and it was.
Everybody over here was talking about how that was going to be the future, right?
Oh yeah, and then the iPod
And-
came and screwed everything.
Yeah,
up.
exactly. I mean, because I was like, those mini discs are so cool, but they're really big in Europe. They never really kicked in over here. That I saw anyway. I saw like eclectic people using them, but it wasn't like commonplace.
No, they
Right.
weren't super
Tommy
big or
has one.
anything. Because MP3 players were coming around the same time, but there was a period where one of those mini disc cassette thingies could hold more than your standard MP3 player could.
Yeah, and you can erase it and then you record
Yeah,
it
exactly.
again and stuff
But
like
then,
that.
then they came with a 1 gigabyte mini disc at the same time as the first iPod came, and then the iPod just won because it was much more useful.
So yeah, threw out a bunch of VCR tapes and found some black mold, and spent most of Tuesday moving my buddy into his U-Haul, moving all his dressers and shit, and got stung by a fucking wasp. Carrying a bloody head of a bed, and apparently we have a nest of wasps underneath our front step.
Oh, for a second I thought you were going to say underneath his bed.
No, those are the bees.
Oh,
And the
okay.
bees are
Okay.
the bees are delightful. You can pick them up and kiss them, and they don't bother you. As long as you don't threaten the nest or hive or whatever, you won't have a problem. But wasps are just fundamentally aggressive. They're just assholes. And like the front of my house has like paving stones that lead from the front step to the street, and the
Right.
last 2 paving stones are about 2 inches lower than the rest of the paving stones. So where that separation is, there used to be a rabbit warren under there. And I guess a bunch of wasps decided they were going to chase the rabbits out of there, and now we got a wasp nest. And we didn't know about it until we were running up and down those stairs, stomp, 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 with heavy shit. And suddenly I'm carrying this thing, and I feel this sharp stab at the base of my my left calf or whatever, right? And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I look down, and the fucking little happy wasp was just flying away. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's been a long time since I've been stung by a wasp, and it doesn't really hurt as much as I remember it hurting, because when I was stung the last time, I was like 8 years old, and I was out by a river, and I got a wasp stuck inside my shirt. And
Ooh.
so he just kind of ran up and down my back, stinging until he found his way out. But yeah, it was an experience. It kind of took me about 20 minutes to half an hour to finally get over it.
You know what? You can actually buy one of those paper nests, like wasp nests, and you just put it there. Apparently, they will just go away,
They'll
and
move.
they're like very territorial or something. So
Oh, you mean if you put another nest out there, they'll think that
Yes,
the area's taken,
yeah.
and they won't?
Yeah.
yeah. So, little tips from the working man.
I guess. So.
Yeah, we had a wasp problem, and we tried a whole bunch of different things, and eventually we went to Canadian Tire and bought like a $1 or $2 paper nest and hung it up by our door, and within a month they were all gone.
Neat.
So, and they don't really come by anymore.
Well, that's good. They're all ending up under my step instead, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
Stabbing
find
the
a home
roommate
somewhere.
for making too much noise.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that was what my day was like, and then moved all my shit out of my bedroom and put it into Lunchy's old room, so I didn't... Because once we got that mold exposed, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm sleeping in there. So I pulled all my shit out, closed the door, opened the window, and... Landlady came by today and, I don't know, played around with it a bit, and she was like, oh, no, it's all just surface mold. And I'm like, really? Because, once you get mold on the outside of the walls, there's going to be lots of fucking mold on the inside of the walls.
Yeah.
Well, she's probably going to rip it apart anyway.
Well, that's what I asked her, because she's supposed to be renovating this whole place. I'm like, you might as well just pull all the drywall off and reframe this place. Right? But... Especially if you have mold, you don't want to pretend that it's just on the outside. You want to make sure you take the whole wall apart and fucking check it, but
Remediate it.
it's not my house, it's hers, so...
She's gonna actually give it to her daughter, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that, yeah. So.
Apparently she's taking my cats, too, because I can't take them with me. So,
really?
well, I guess, I mean, she's kind of accepted on her behalf. Like, the landlady, the mother has accepted on the daughter's behalf. But the daughter was making noises to my other two, she wouldn't talk to me about it, but she's making noises to the other two roommates about how delightful the kitties are, and whether or not, she was like, if you can't find a place, they're totally welcome to stay here. They already live here, and they know the place, and blah, 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 and I don't mind adopting the kitties, because they're so delightful, and blah, 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 blah. And at first I was I was really not resentful, but I was, resistant to it, because I was very much of the opinion that if you are taking upon yourself the responsibility of an animal, that's like a lifetime commitment type thing, right?
Yeah.
And even though I didn't choose the cats, they kind of were abandoned on me. I kind of adopted them myself. I pay for all their shit. I clean their litter box. I buy all their food. I got them registered and microchipped. And I'm the one who takes them to the vet every 6 months or a year to get them checked up. I'm the one who takes care of these cats. And I was kind of hard on Dawn when she just put an ad on Kijiji for her cat and just got rid of her. Right.
You know what? The cat would just think, oh my, they sent another human to serve.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's almost like they're being really friendly and cuddly and affectionate, because it's almost like they know that this is their last week with me, pretty much, so.
Are they not usually cuddly and affectionate to you?
Well, not kind of. Like, a lot of the time, they just wander around, they're like, whatever. But, I mean, for the first time in months, I found them both sleeping on my bed when I woke up this morning. And I don't know if that has to do with the fact that it's the only bed left in the entire house, but I'd like to think that it's because, they like me a bit.
They like you.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, that was how my week went. So, and I haven't been able to get any sleep very much for maybe more than 3 or 4 hours a night for the last week. So I'm just bone tired in everything I do.
Yeah, I hear you. I spent the last couple of days sleeping quite a bit. Last week was pretty busy, so...
So, I just have a little funny thing to tell you guys, I guess. There was a little lady called Will, and said, okay, I want to talk to, Will. I said, oh, he's actually not available. And the lady was like, oh, okay, can I talk to your mom? And I was like, how old do you think I am? She thought I was 12. Yeah, so...
It's always nice when you have some stranger phones in the house and they're like, is your mommy or daddy there?
I know.
It's better than a couple months ago when you stopped by a friend's place that I was at, and I hear, Will, your dad's here to pick you up.
I know, I'm not even white, I don't know. So what are we going to talk about today?
So, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of editing on this one.
Yeah, I don't know how well it's going to go either. Of course, the week that I'm moving, you decide to take 4 of us and jam us together.
Well, yeah.
Randomly. Yeah, this was pretty much decided, 15 minutes ago that we were going to be in this constellation?
Yeah.
Really?
I've been a bit busy. Or preoccupied, let's put it that way.
That's alright, we've all been preoccupied, I think.
So, let's move on to a happier subject. Let's talk about, internet scams and identity theft.
It's actually not a happy subject.
Well, apparently it's happier. You're getting stung by wasps and...
Well, actually, I have a few stories to share. Happened, this last few days. A couple of my coworkers, they have their identity actually stolen. One of my coworkers...
So, sorry, I gotta object. I really hate that phrase, that somebody has stolen my identity. They may have co-opted my identity, they may have cloned my identity, they may have borrowed my identity, but they haven't stolen my identity. If you steal my identity, I don't walk around going, I don't know who I am anymore. What do I like? What's my name?
Well,
it's more like
we
electronic
used to call it
fraud.
Now it's identity theft. We're now blaming the victim. Oh, you had your identity stolen. No, it's fraud.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gotta clear the air there.
All right.
All right, go on.
Can I move on now? Okay, thank you.
The pendantry is overwhelming.
Thank you. All right, so her stepson got his identity stolen.
Borrowed.
So
Absconded with.
what happened was that he found out. Apparently, he went to Vancouver and bought an iPhone 5. And so after some digging around, they actually find out the identity was stolen. And somebody actually used his name and all the information to open up an account with another cell phone carrier and make a purchase. Yes. basically kind of how it goes. And I also kind of talked to a few other friends of mine. Apparently, there are a lot of scam going on, con artists going on, on the internet right now. So,
I mean, that's where a lot of the scams are, though, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, actually, I think last year, me and Will were looking for a roommate, and some guy from New York replied and said he wanted to send us the rent over the internet or something, and
Through
I just say
PayPal.
no. Pardon me?
He wanted to send it through PayPal.
Something like that. So anyway, I just say no. Don't want to take that chance, right? So it was just going on everywhere. And you know what? I have to be honest. It's really easy to actually find out information about somebody these days. With Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's so easy. I mean, if I actually know somebody's phone number and their full name, I can basically kind of hunt down their information within like minutes. And yeah, it's actually pretty scary. There was a friend somebody I knew, I should say. I can actually find out their information like within 5 minutes, like where they live, where they work, and then stuff like that. It's just everything is on the internet. There's no trick. Just put on the name, phone number, and find out one piece of information and then go lead to the other and stuff like that.
So, are you going to teach us how to do this, or are you going to teach us how to fight against it, or are you just...
Well, basically, it's actually so easy to find out. So basically, if you want to know about somebody, you kind of need two pieces of information. So kind of from the start, right? You need to know their name and phone number mostly. Like that's how I actually generally find out information about people. Or if you know what they do for a living, then just kind of put in those information. So like let's say John Smith, phone number 403-555-1234, right? So just put it in there, Google. Sometimes you have some information, sometimes you don't. But you know what? You may find something that, like maybe like a trade magazine or like a trade website that you can actually kind of go from here to there and, find out your next step, next piece of information. I actually find it pretty therapeutic. I find it very interesting. I like it.
Well, I know Willie does the same thing. Like he went to school for a journalism course, and one of the aspects of his degree is being taught how to stalk people on the internet. And it's kind of funny because he was demonstrating his internet stalkery abilities a couple months back when he was going through all our guild members in our WoW guild, and he was going through their names and phone numbers and just demonstrating how he could find out all this information. And then he got to me, and he got to follow, and he couldn't find out anything about either of us other than our Facebook accounts. And I was like,
you know what though? Here's the thing. I mean, you can't find out everybody's information on the internet for sure.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people. Their information is just
people are just
available.
They're just wildly, very irresponsible with their personal information. They got no problems. Like a lot of the times, I'll see just stupid people doing things like they'll go to like a public website that is open to the interwebs, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, totally, give me a phone call right here," blah blah blah, and they'll write it out. And the phone number, their address, right in like a public. There's no security. There's no even at the very least on Facebook. A lot of the times, the only people who can see the posts you make are the people that are on your friends list. Right?
Yeah.
So at least there's a little bit of sort of bottlenecking there. But if you're like on a bulletin board or something like that, it's just, or like
even Kijiji, like if you go on Kijiji or Craigslist, you try to sell something, those information are actually on the internet.
Yeah.
So, like if I kind of go from that angle, I can sometimes even find out your email address, what you like. So I mean, you know what? I think in a way it helps the social media marketing people. They can actually find out information how to sell their product and whatnot. But at the same time, all these information, if they land it in the wrong hand, that's not going to be a good thing.
But you
like
can get all that information from public databases ananyway.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not you share it. I thought a lot about that before I registered WilliamConnor.ca, right, which is what Hardly Qualified is hosted off of, and the .com as well. My address and phone number is in there. Granted, it's our old place and I haven't changed it, but
now you said that, so.
Well, it wouldn't be that hard to find. I mean,
yeah. Anyway,
and I thought a lot about it. I mean, I've worked in network security for years, right? So for me, there's kind of this balance of developing a public persona. So I kind of decided, well, if I'm going to be writing articles and whatnot anyway, then it's going to show up. It's not going to be hard to find. And really, it's kind of like breaking into a house. Those who are determined are going to do it anyway. You don't have to make it easier for them, but there's an element of managing that risk, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's really, really easy. I mean, even Ducky, I would be able to find stuff on you.
Yeah, maybe.
It wouldn't be that hard.
I don't know how much effort he put into it, but all he could find was an old story that I'd written back when I was in like grade 10 or something. So.
But that's because he's just relying on Google, right? There are other resources. There are other databases.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you pay, you can find out even more information, right?
Well, like I said, I don't know what he did. All I know is it.
Actually, two more things I want to add. If you have a picture, actually Google Image has a function for you. You can actually upload a picture on Google Image, and you can actually try to search that picture and see if that picture was ever posted on any website.
I find that really terrifying because it also, I think it, if I'm not entirely mistaken, it also has like a facial recognition feature.
Yeah, but it's not that accurate, but it can actually find general information. Like, I mean, if you're talking about the same picture, it can find it on the internet.
Yeah.
I actually use Google Image to actually find somebody. Like, I didn't know this person, I just have their picture, and then
Are you sure you want to be admitting this?
What?
Because this could like lead to criminal charges.
Why?
No, not at all.
No.
No,
You sure?
I know it's public information. No, it's public information.
Okay,
let's
alright.
say if I have a roommate,
Dear world, the working man is stalking you on the internet.
No, it's not stalking.
Hey, if
Stalking
employers
is like
can
I
do it.
actually take action to make any disturbance against this person, right? I mean, I call this person non-stop, send them emails and whatnot, right? Just the fact that I was trying to find out information about this person, that doesn't mean I'm stalking them, right? But anyway, what I was gonna say is that I actually use one of the picture and search it on Google Image. And I find out his Google page, Twitter page, and I know who this person is, and then kind of do some more digging and find out where they actually live, where they went to university. So there are a lot of information that people need to protect themselves against. I think, especially self-employed people, like realtor, they have to put their name out there, their cell phone number out there. Those people are very, they have to be very, very, very careful. They're exposing themselves so much out there. So.
I think there's a fundamental decency to human beings, though I don't think
No,
that...
there are none. People are people, man.
Sorry, I forgot who I was
Hello?
talking to here.
Hello.
I disagree.
No, I mean,
You,
you know
you
what?
disagree that there's a fundamental decency to human
No,
beings?
I disagree that there isn't a fundamental decency to
Oh,
human
okay.
beings.
Well, you know what? I think, yes, it's good that you actually believe that there are fundamental decencies.
But it makes me
You
naive.
make it sound like I believe in some sort of sky fairy or something. Oh, that's sweet that you believe that human beings
That's
are
so
completely-
quaint, right?
Well, here's the thing. You still have to actually protect yourself, though. Here's the thing. Like, you know what? You can believe in people to a certain degree, right? I mean, I can't just tell you, okay, you know what? Just because I love you over the internet and you send me, like, $50,000 and I'll just cut you the check and send it over right away without knowing who you are, right? That's not gonna fly in this time. I mean, this I don't know.
Well,
I
it seems to work for
this
Nigerian
world is just not
princesses.
gonna work.
I've known people that have gotten caught up in those type of scams, and it's... Some of them have, lost their houses or nearly lost their house, or it's destroyed relationships or ruined their finances, and some of it's based on greed and some of it's based on ignorance, and some of it is relatively innocent, and you just kind of get swept along in it, right?
Yeah.
I think that whenever you're meeting somebody online, you need to have a fundamental rule that you don't give them money,
Oh yeah, of course.
right?
Also,
I mean, I don't even
not-
like giving Tommy money, and I'm married to him.
Hello, you're Scottish.
And you take it out of my wallet anyway, but that's neither here nor there.
No, but
But, that's besides the point. I mean, I think you can believe, you can trust people to a point, but you also have to protect yourself. And I think on the internet, you also have to watch out what you actually give out. Yeah.
Period.
I mean,
Well, and also keep in mind that there are safeguards out there too, in terms of at least financial crimes. Your bank account information, your credit cards, stuff like that is often monitored by your banks, and they can catch it a lot of times before you do. I've gotten calls from my bank, and they're like, "Hi, are you in Argentina right now?" And I'm like, "No, you're calling me at home." And they were like, "Yeah, that's kind of what we thought. Never mind, And then they send me a new credit card.
Oh.
And it hasn't happened often. A couple of years ago, it was happening quite regularly. I was getting a new credit card in the mail almost every 3 months.
Really?
So that was yeah.
Yeah, if you do any online purchase, the risk will be increased, like, dramatically, right?
It depends on
yeah.
what kind of safeguards you've got around your credit card as well. I mean, like my bank, when I make a purchase online, I have to, I have this little code chip thing that I have to push a button on and it gives me a code, and I have to put that into
Oh, yeah.
a
Security
Java app
fobs,
that my bank has issued. So it's like a security check kind of thing. So
Yeah, I got one of those for my World of Warcraft account.
yeah, that's just my regular credit card has that, or my Visa card has that.
But I've worked at places that have the same kind of computer system that if you want to log into any one of their computer systems, you've got like an actual device in your hand where you push a button and it randomly generates a 6-digit number based on an algorithm and what time it is and what day it is. And it,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
token,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and you have to punch in that number and it changes every 30 seconds and it has to match the one on the server because the server has the same algorithm, right? So
That's how this works, and
Yeah.
and there's a personal password as well. So you have to have my password, you have to have my little code chip thing, and you have to have my credit card information. So
Yeah.
and I'm not
well,
going to give it away.
I just get
The
around it
best
by
security is three-factor authentication. Something you are, something you know, and something you have.
Yeah.
Right? So biometrics would be the something you are. A lot of times that's not practical in our infrastructure. So, we've typically done something you know, which has been a PIN number.
Yeah.
And something you have, which has been a card. Right? So that's worked out pretty well. But now having the time-based codes, like even with Google Authenticator works, I have it integrated in all the My Computer Hero systems, so that you hit our support website and whatnot, you can't get in without this time-based code that's only valid for 60 seconds, and it only resides on a certain amount of devices, so that people don't get access to the entire infrastructure, right? But
Now, I do have a question, though. You're talking about the
biometrics. That's one of the things I'm excited
biometric
about.
system, right? Yeah, but you know what? I always kind of concerned, though. I mean, you know what? What if we're talking about fingerprints, let's say, and people just go out and randomly cut out people's finger?
well, I think
know
that
it's
that would
crazy, but I
probably
thought
hit the
about it.
news.
Yeah.
I know,
First of
but
all,
maybe that happens.
Well,
that will
it
happen.
even happens, like, we talk about that kind of stuff in fiction all the time where you have, like, retinal scanners, and so they go and they kill the guy who's got the raw eye, and they pull his eye out and stick it on the end of a pen, and then they use that to get in the retinal scanner.
Yeah.
Right? Or the one with,
Contact lenses.
yeah,
Yes,
or
indeed.
the breath thing from Alien Resurrection, or there's I think it's Shadowrun, or I can't remember. There's some other piece of fiction where it's a code that's engraved on your kidney or on your pelvis or something, and the scanners can read through and read the barcode off. But I mean, we can do it with things like that. Like you can get the microchip thing, you can get your DNA swabs. Like I mean, we have to start sort of getting that what you are thing integrated a lot more. I think because then identity theft would have to include your physical person.
Well, let me address that. First of all, you wouldn't need to cut somebody's fingers off. You could just
knock them out.
Make a gelatin mold of a finger, and you can actually print fingerprint. It's pretty easy to do. Mythbusters kind of did a whole thing on that. Fingerprint scanner is incredibly trivial to.
But if it's easy, then it's not secure.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, if I know, okay, Ducky is walking around this time to this time, I just follow him. Let's say he has millions of dollars in his bank account. I just actually catch that moment he didn't actually pay attention and somehow get his fingerprint.
Right.
And then I can do exactly what you were actually talking about, right?
Sure.
So then in that case, it's not going to be that secure.
I mean, I'm at
Right,
the point
and that's why relying on biometrics isn't some sort of pination.
Well,
right?
no, of course not. But I mean, it's a definite tool that we should have in the toolbox.
I'm at the point now where I've barely got any fingerprints left on my left hand because I've been playing so much guitar. I could commit all kinds of crimes with this left hand because I can't get my fingerprints off.
I feel a lot more comfortable knowing that my bank software is monitoring my purchases for anomalies versus that they have my fingerprint.
Yeah.
Because a fingerprint can easily be duplicated. The fact that I'm not likely to make a $2 purchase on my credit card, then that would be something that would trigger them. Or then I'm not likely to make, say, $1,000, whatever it is, right? Like, they know what your behaviors are, or the system knows what your behaviors are, and when your transactions fall out of it, then it throws up a flag and freezes your account, right?
Yeah, I think actually they generally just do the IP check. If they actually, if it's online purchases, or like, they just kind of check and see what the geographic location of the purchase may be, right? So I think that may be the biggest thing they try to catch.
They also look at amounts, and at least for banks anyway, they also look at the amounts you're spending and where you're spending it. So if you're the type of person that normally doesn't buy cars on their credit card, then that's going to raise a red flag for them. For me to go into Memory Express and, spend a couple $1,000s a week on computer equipment makes complete sense given what I do. And that's kind of a pattern of behavior that I've built up, so they know that, right?
But you know what? I agree with you that actually.
But if you were to do it, consistently over a week or two, or even a couple of days, it would probably be flagged on your account.
I think I agree with you that banks are actually starting to, they're definitely catching on with all these suspicious activity. Because I think when I first came to Canada, there was one time I was just actually giving somebody a ride. It was a friend of a friend. Gave them a ride from Edmonton to Calgary. And we stopped in Red Deer, had lunch. And I offered to actually pay for the meal and whatnot. Try to be a nice guy and whatnot. Because I knew that those two guys would not be able to afford the meal. So I was like, okay, I offer to pay. And, in a good old day, they actually kind of have all your credit card number and expiry date and everything on that receipt, right? So they took my receipt without me knowing. And they actually make a purchase. They actually used the credit card to pay for their TELUS bill. So eventually I actually have to call the cop on them. And it was just kind of a bad experience. However, these days, you don't see those anymore. Like every single time you go to a restaurant, they just actually kind of show you the last 4 digit, and all the number in front of the 4 digit would be blocked off, and they don't even show you expiry date, right? So I think definitely we came a long way in that regard.
Well, it's been like that for years, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about like 10 years ago for my 12 years actually even
right.
For my experience, right? So
I mean, the technology and the practices change a lot quicker than that, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not worried about the one-off. What I'm worried about is Google. Google's mission is actually what they want to do with their systems is to develop Google to the point where it knows what you want before you know you want it. That is when they have the pinnacle of their achievement, and that's what they're working towards, is predictive analysis, accurate predictive analysis for each individual, so that it can have it ready for you when you decide you want it. That scares the crap out of me. I'm not so worried about some guy, cloning my card and taking out $50 or whatever it is, because I know that the bank's going to cancel it and refund it and stuff like that, right? It's more that
there's a big corporation actually dedicate themselves to predict what you like and learn about your behavior.
Right, because if they're able to do that successfully, then I'm going to get used to it. And there's a book out there called The Filter Bubble that kind of talks about this, where we have personalized search now on Google and in other places, even Facebook, right? Where who we interact with and the type of stories we follow, the algorithms automatically filter out everything else. So if you're a conservative and you search for something on Google, you're going to get very conservative results. If you're more liberal-minded, then you're going to get more liberal-minded results. If you're male, you're going to get more male-focused results. And this filter bubble has kind of built up around us where the system is only trying to show us what we want to see, and we're losing exposure to what we may not necessarily want to see, which is kind of one of the reasons why we do this show, is to break out of that a bit. And what really scares me about that is you get this kind of complacency that the computer is showing you one particular worldview and you're not considering anything beyond it.
And you come
what
to assume
happens
it.
when it intentionally starts shaping it, right?
Yeah.
That's the risk. Right now it's kind of a passive thing where, it's making a best guess of what you want to see. But what if it says, for whatever reason, somebody develops some sort of malicious intent and says, well, William needs to start thinking about this. Right?
So they shape your thinking for you.
Yeah. Without me noticing, because I've just accepted that these systems are really, really good and and enabling my life. That's the risk, is not questioning what we're being fed by Facebook and Google.
Well, in a way, it actually is going on. That's advertising, though. You know, I mean, honestly, really, honest the truth. Who actually need Christmas? Mother's Day, Valentine's Day.
I'm going to
Those
tell them
are
on
all
that. You're getting no presents this
no,
year.
okay, listen though. But those are manufactured. Those are artificial created holidays.
Well, every
Christmas
holiday,
kind of has a...
But it's just the same thing.
every holiday is
you just-
arguably manufactured, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Not
but
my
you know,
I think he's talking about highly commercialized.
No, my birthday is not artificial, and by the way, it's September, so you guys can start buying presents. I'll accept presents, you know, in a few weeks. So thank you.
He calls it his
Hello?
birthday month.
Yeah, birth month. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Not at all a materialist, eh?
No, I'm not.
just a
you
material
just rallying
boy
against
living
it?
in a material
Really?
something.
But well, you know what? He's actually kind of the case, right? You know, everything is artificial, manufactured, commercial. So.
That's all well and good. I mean, it's very inconvenient when you're doing research for something.
Yeah.
And you can't
because,
get the search results you're looking for because Google thinks that you want something else than what you actually want.
yeah, because I can kind of understand that for some people who are threatened by opposing opinions or ideas, it might give them a comfort level to be able to have that confirmation bias reinforced by the interwebs. But when you're looking for something you either don't know about or you're looking for contrary opinions to, you know, it seems to me that it's a dangerous situation we'd be in if our resources are just being like agreeing with us all the time. Like if Google turns into a sycophantic yes man, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's one of the problems that we always run into a lot of the times with very powerful people is that the people around them refuse to challenge them. That they always just acquiesce. Right? And it just sort of develops this sense of, I'm always right, in these people. And if we have that sort of being translated into Facebook and Google searches where they continuously reinforce your belief system or whatever, then you're going to have that, but it's going to be like, not just on, Bill Gates and Barack Obama, it's going to be on, Tom down the street and Maria, who's looking up, freaking apple pie recipes. And if everybody's going to be consistently reinforced in their own personal worldview, then that does sort of lead towards a very dangerous situation, I think.
Yeah.
Facebook just announced a tweaking to their algorithm where they decided that the optimal social group is 50. And what they're going to be doing is, or what the system is going to do, is the 50 people you interact with the most are going to get priority on your time or on your news feed. So that, say Maia and I only interact a couple of times a year, she might be, say, in the 60 of the amount of, number 60 of my top 100 people. But because they've come up with 50, number 49 stories are actually going to get promoted over hers in my newsfeed, even if they are older and less relevant. But because the system has said, number 49 is more relevant to William than number 60 is.
See, that's bollocks to me,
Right.
because, I have Facebook because I want to keep in touch with the people that I don't see very often. And
Right.
obviously, the people that I do see very often are going to be the ones I interact with the most, because they're the ones I'll be hitting up on chat and saying, oh, hey, want to grab a coffee? But people that I know who are overseas and that I don't see and that I don't talk to, they're the ones I want to keep in touch with. So the fact that Facebook just decides that those people aren't important to me, that gets on my nerves.
Well, it bugs me too, because one of the things that I notice all the time is that my Facebook newsfeed is always, it never seems to update. It's always out of sync, even when I have it sorted by most recent. And it changes. Like, when I'll go through it and I'll read the first 5 or 6 things or whatever, and then I'll click on a link, and instead of doing the right-click, open a new tab thing, I'll click directly on the link, and it'll jump to a new Facebook page, and I'll be like, shit, I need to go back. You go back to the thing, and 3 or 4 of the things that you've read are gone. Right? They're just gone. You can't find them again. And I'm just like,
And also-
I don't know if it's just a technological limitation that they just can't maintain persistent timelines for each person, but that's one of the big
No,
things.
it's a deliberate choice. It used to be like that.
It really bugs me. And, I'll find like a post that I made will be like second on the list. And it was like, one of the things was I shared a thing a couple days ago, like on the 17th or something. And for the last 3 days, it's been consistently the 3rd thing in my newsfeed. And I'm
You
just,
know what?
I don't care
Because
about
you're really
stuff
important
that
to
I've
yourself,
already
according to
done.
Facebook.
yeah, exactly. Especially from fucking 4 days ago. Right? I mean, I check Facebook often enough, and I got enough people who I'm subscribed to that I should be able to sign in every couple of hours and see 5 or 6 new things that they have posted or not posted. Right? And to have the same item from 4 days ago sitting 2nd or 3rd in my newsfeed, it infuriates me.
Welcome to the filter bubble, brother.
You know what? Actually, I think what you're talking about is already here. If you actually go to Facebook, they always have the sorted, and you can actually click it to most recent, but they will always jump back to top stories.
Well, it never stays as the most recent either. I've got it set to most recent, and they're always out of sync, right? I mean, 26
They
seconds ago
always
for
jump back
Maia,
to top
and then,
stories, right? Yeah.
and then we got 12 minutes ago, and then we got 19th of August, right? And then we got 15 minutes ago, which is after 19th of August,
Doesn't
right?
make any
And,
sense.
yeah, and then I've got this thing from fucking Love Science where they got the Cassini probe. What the hell's it called? When you get a bunch of little pit mural, right? That was posted like on the freaking 18th, and I'm just, why can't it be in order? So I don't know.
I think
It's just a
part
pet
of the
peeve.
reason why I really love Tumblr, even though there's lots of annoying people there. Because at least everything comes in the right order and there's not an awful lot of adverts.
I cannot understand how to read a Tumblr. It just looks like...
You read it chronologically.
Well, no,
Well,
but it's
that was
always, every time I try to read it, it always reminds me of those things where somebody will, when you used to type an email to somebody and you hit reply all, or whatever, and it'll reprint everything you just said, or what that was sent to you with like one sentence at the end, right? And then it'll just keep doing that. And it's like, that's what happens when I see these long Tumblr feeds, that it's just 17 pages of the same 6 words repeated over and over and over and over and over again. And you can't find where the start is of the conversation because you'll read, because I don't know if it's backwards, if the most recent shit is at the top and the oldest shit is at the bottom, or if it's in the middle and it kind of spreads out.
Okay, we get it, get off your internet, we get it.
Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know, just...
It's okay.
Stop messing with your tubes.
That's right.
It's okay.
Relax, it's alright.
And it always indents
No big
it.
deal.
So I always find that once it's something that's like 6 or 7 replies later, it's indented off the page, so it's like one column of just a single letter that you're trying to read. I'm just...
I love those, they're really funny. I got one of those today.
So,
All right, we're going to take a break and listen to Eddie Scott's The Skeptic in the Room.
yeah, fuck Tumblr.
Always amazed that some people believe things that defy common sense. How do they accept the bizarre and the odd for which there is no evidence? Sure, some people say that it's harmless, and I wish I could just let it go. But it's not what we know that makes trouble. It's what we know that just isn't so. It's always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. I state my case and watch the room go silent as a tomb, 'cause I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? Which makes me end up sounding like an overbearing jerk. Yes, it's a drag to always be the lonely skeptic in the room. I have to speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I just can't make it quit, 'cause people sure believe some crazy shit. I have a friend, her name is Laura, loves to talk about her aura. Every time she's off her game, her dented aura is to blame. She says everybody's got 'em, cameras have been known to spot 'em, magic, mystic, oral energy. One day I just had to ask her, Laura, make it clear, how's it all supposed to work? Please tell me, I'm all ears. How's an aura get created? Tell me, how's it generated? Is there a hypothesis for how an aura can exist? Maybe you're just having mood swings which you blame on magic woo things. That's the last time Laura talked to me. It's always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. I state my case and watch the room go silent as a tomb, 'cause I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? Which makes me end up sounding like an overbearing jerk. Yes, it's a drag to always be the lonely skeptic in the room. I have to speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I just can't make it quit, 'cause people sure believe some crazy shit. My friend Dennis, he's a scholar. His tech skills earn him top dollar. Just a few short years ago, Dennis saw a UFO. Now he says they're all around us, aliens in fact surround us. Probably they're living right next door. I say, Dennis, tell me, buddy, help me understand. How can there be flying saucers buzzing around the land? How come every single sighting seems to come in lousy lighting? I could sure accept the truth with valid photographic proof. When you saw those lights a blinking, had you maybe just been drinking? Dennis doesn't call me anymore. It's always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. I state my case and watch the room go silent as a tomb, 'cause I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? Which makes me end up sounding like an overbearing jerk. Yes, it's a drag to always be the lonely skeptic in the room. I have to speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I just can't make it quit, 'cause people sure believe some crazy shit. Brittany, she's a modern lady, rather green and quite new agey, claims her latest malady was cured by homeopathy. She says it has magic rules. You take some wholesome molecules, dissolve them in the purest H2O. Brittany took this grand concoction and her pain was fixed. Come again, I had to say just what was in that mix. If it works well, what would then be? Water has selective memory, knows the good but not the shit that ever was dissolved in it. Thanks to science, here's what we know really. It's a big placebo. Brittany told me just where I can go. It's always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. I state my case and watch the room go silent as a tomb, 'cause I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? Which makes me end up sounding like an overbearing jerk. Yes, it's a drag to always be the lonely skeptic in the room. I have to speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I just can't make it quit. 'Cause people sure believe some crazy shit. I have a friend, no doubting Thomas, quite devout and really honest, says despite what we've been told, the earth is really not that old. He will brook no wiser, wherefores that's what holy books are there for. Earth was born 6,000 years ago. To contradict you, Thomas, I admit to feeling grief, but maybe there's some evidence to counter your belief. Like chemistry, biology, astronomy, anatomy, astrophysics, botany, geology, zoology, molecular biology, physics, physiology. Thomas says, so what, they'll burn in hell. It's always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. I state my case and watch the room go silent as a tomb, 'cause I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? Which makes me end up sounding like an overbearing jerk. Yes, it's a drag to always be the lonely skeptic in the room. I have to speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I just can't make it quit. 'Cause people sure believe some scary shit. My young neighbors Dave and Tina talked about how they had seen a former Playboy pinup queen speaking out against vaccines. Now they think it's realistic so that no one grows autistic, not to vaccinate their little kids. Dave, please listen now before it really is too late. Don't take health advice from one to whom you used to masturbate. Beauty queens have certain assets, science really ain't their strong set. You should get a good assist from a working scientist. Guys, I won't speak gingerly, 'cause this could cause great injury. The right thing is what Dave and Tina did. So it's not always such a drag to be the skeptic in the room. Sometimes I state my case and find that people will consume, though I'm the one who always says, how's that supposed to work? It doesn't have to mean that I'm an overbearing jerk. No, it's not bad to always be the lonely skeptic in the room, but I'll still speak my mind when pseudoscience starts to bloom. Although I try to hold my tongue, I know I'll never quit. 'Cause people do believe, and man do they believe. Yes, people do believe some crazy shit.
Alright, so I wanted to talk about privilege, because that's a word that gets thrown around a lot, and gets thrown around a lot on Tumblr, by the people I refer to as the Tumblr hipsters, rather derisively. And I'm not denying the fact that there is such a thing as privilege. I mean, obviously there are people who are born in better circumstances, and obviously there are people who have it a lot easier than other people, and that is a thing, and that's something that you need to be aware of, especially if you're one of those people. But it seems that people use the word privilege to silence. The word privilege is used to tell you that you don't have the right to talk about this because you don't get it.
Okay.
There's like a hierarchy of which people are allowed to talk about which issues, and if you are too privileged, then you haven't got the right to talk about it. No, like for instance, it was a while back, a couple of years ago I think on Tumblr, that I came across this word for the first time, and it was a discussion about how to apologise to people on the internet. and somebody had written a post about it, and I commented on that post, and I said that, well, this is all really nice, but one of the points was that when you've hurt or offended a person, then that person doesn't owe you an explanation for why they're upset with you if you don't know. Which I said that, yeah, all right, fair enough, but if they won't tell me what I've done, then they can't really expect me to apologise now, can they? And suddenly
You haven't been married, have you?
and then, but then suddenly I had this shitstorm, basically, come over me of these people telling me that, that I didn't have the right to expect a marginalised person that I'd oppressed to tell me what I'd done to oppress them, and that I would put them in a really difficult and awful situation if I tried to talk to them, and who am I to blah 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 blah. And suddenly I was basically being accused of imperialism and genocide.
Welcome to my world. Why do you think I rage against people who use privilege all the time, or the word privilege all the time? That's why I refer to it as a catch-all way to silence dissent and as a way to disparage anybody who holds a political position differing than the person using the word privilege.
Well, can I share something with you guys?
Yes.
Actually, kind of along the same line. I don't like the word privilege. Actually, the other day, I came to a discussion with a couple of friends. The word I used was entitlement, sense of entitlement. So basically, a friend of mine said that you don't need to be nasty with people. You just wait till they actually come to your level, and and this and that. So my reply to him is that, you know what? In my life here in Canada, I have to fight for every single thing because I'm a new immigrant. You know what? The air I breathe here is not natural to me. All the scenery, even the right to be in this country, is not natural to me. I have to fight for it. My job, my house, my cat, everything I have to fight for.
You have to fight for your cat?
Especially the cat.
Especially the cat.
Against whom do you fight?
No, seriously.
Like who's?
The cat.
William?
Wait, it's like the government breaking down your door saying, you,
No.
Chinese immigrants are not allowed to own pets in this country. Where's your permit?
Do you know how many times Mr. William was saying, oh, we should get rid of the cat? Do you know how many times I actually I'm not giving up the cat. The cat has been there for me.
The cat's more important than you, Will. What do you know?
Oh, I've known that for a long time.
Yeah. He's kind of in the lower end of the totem pole. But anyway, my point is that I just find that...
Was that a cat toy in the background?
Yeah, that's my cat running around. She's got a jingle bell around her neck.
Oh.
The basement is wide open because there's no more computers in here, so she just runs to one corner and then flips around and runs to the other corner. She's like, look at all the space!
Anyway, so my point is that I think it's really hard for people to understand what I'm talking about. But the fact that I have to fight for everything. Somebody come and say, oh, you don't need to fight. You should expect this happen. You should expect people to come up to your level. You know what? That's BS.
Well,
I think that's what you call privilege in this case.
That's where a lot of my sort of, not apprehension, but my sort of abhorrence for the term privilege comes from. Because a lot of the times, people will use the concept of privilege as a way to minimize a person's achievement, right? They'll say that you have a good life because you're white, rather than because you work hard, or you made good decisions, or you had, opportunity, right? They'll try to say that it has nothing to do with you, it has to do with your privilege. And I think
I don't actually say that.
No, I'm not saying
what
you
I
do,
actually,
but I'm saying that often
okay.
privilege is used as a tool to try to marginalize the success or accomplishments of people who are accused of having it. And, the reverse can be said the same. That the failures or the problems that people who are viewed as not having privilege have is often minimized by the fact that they are accused of not having privilege. And it really bugs me because, it's hard to try to, I don't understand how people can reconcile, the concept of equality and fair treatment with the concept of privilege. To me, they're absolutely counterintuitive to one another. Right?
To me, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I really acknowledge that privilege exists. I don't like to use the word because it's being used so wrong. Because yes, I am privileged. I live in one of the richest countries in the world. I have a lot of stuff that other people in other places in my situation might not have. I'm currently unemployed and I'm doing all right anyway because I have savings and I have a family and I have, all of these are things that make me privileged compared to somebody who doesn't have those things. But that doesn't mean that I don't have problems and that I don't have the right to speak on issues because just because I'm not the same as somebody else doesn't mean that I can't empathise with them, that I can't see how they have it and sympathise and empathise with that and make a valid point or a valid statement in the discussion.
I guess it makes sense to me. But I don't know. I mean, you guys are familiar with the We Are the 99% campaign?
Occupy.
That arose out of Occupy.
Yeah. It's basically this whole thing that the 99% of society is or the 1% controls 99% of the wealth or something like that. And
in the United States, not here.
Well, the point is that they're drawing this line. They're saying that we're the 99%. We, the masses, are the 99% who are suffering because of the decadence and opulence and affluence of the 1%. And it floors me because the thing that these people, these social justice warriors who are camping out on Wall Street and in Olympic Plaza for 6 fucking months, what they don't realize is that if you woke up this morning and could drink water that wasn't infested with parasites, you're part of the 1%, right? If you woke up and had breakfast, you're part of the motherfucking 1%.
The 1% of the 1%.
The 1% of the, like, the thing is that there are, 70% of the world's population doesn't have access to clean drinking water. Right? And that's why it screams sort of boo-hoo crybaby bullshit that these people are, like, arguing, they're complaining about how they have such hardships, right? And when the vast majority of the human population is far worse off than they are.
Then again, I mean, that's like putting a first world problem label on things, which is sort of, I mean, which sort of is kind of the same thing as the privilege thing, because I mean, I'm being told that I don't have a right to speak on an issue because I'm too privileged. Now you're saying that the people who are demonstrating against social injustice don't have a right to do that because they're not.
No.
What I'm saying is they can't.
What I'm saying is that they can't justify it as we're the 99%. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
The 99% of the country.
But you're just making the same error you just rallied against, right?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes. I believe so, because you're saying that, why are people complaining because they
I'm
already
not
have
upset with
privilege?
them complaining. Right? Because, yes, there are people in this country who are worse off than others, and that a lot of them have legitimate grievances. But it's this concept that they're the worst off, and that it's all the fault of the people who are better than them. That's where my opposition to the whole 99% campaign comes from, because they're not the 99%. That's a disingenuous label to use.
Okay.
Right?
Well, I can actually share with you guys something that I actually read today. You know what? I think I agree with you guys. I don't like the term privilege because that actually have a very negative meaning. But I also think, each and every single one of us should actually think what we should be thankful for. Like, you know what? Either way, our life is not that terrible compared to a lot of people, right? I mean, you look at other third world country. Our life is actually pretty good. We are much better off than a lot of people. Even within the country, this morning I was actually I saw the news, and there was autistic parents in Ontario. They actually receive. Yes, sorry, that's what I mean. They receive a letter asking them to either move or actually euthanize the kid because the kid was making too much noise. And that's kind of my understanding of the whole story. I don't know if I actually caught it right.
Yeah, well, what happened was there's a grandmother who's taking care of her grandson, and her grandson's 13 years old and autistic. And she woke up one morning to find an anonymous letter, very poorly spelled and poorly typed out. A lot of punctuation, though. In their mailbox, basically, it was ranting. One unhappy neighborhood mother was how it was signed, and apparently, I guess
one pissed off mother.
Was it one pissed off mother?
Yeah, one pissed off mother. I'm reading it right now.
Okay, yeah, and basically, it was just saying that your autistic son is weird, and he's making our normal children ask questions. So you should take him away, go put him in an institution, or end his life because,
I can't help but notice that this person is accusing this child of whaling, spelled as in, catching whales.
Yeah, that's what I said. Very poorly spelled.
This is a horrifyingly written letter.
Yeah, I know. But what I actually want to share with you guys, is that actually my cousin, one of my cousins, is actually autistic, and I can't believe to actually even begin to tell you. I can't even begin to tell you like what kind of. I'm actually trying to choose my word very carefully, but this is kind of my aunt. No, listen. This is actually kind of my aunt's personal experience. She feels that she lives in shame. And I know, like, as an outsider, we don't see that. But that's how she feels. Why? Because you know what? Whenever she bring my cousin to, everybody stare at them. Like, as if they did something wrong, right? And you know what? If you have that once or twice, you can brush it away. If you have that every day, that's, like, it'll have an impact on you, right? So, after years after years, my cousin is actually almost 25 now. And you know what? I just want to share this particular piece of information with you guys. Like, for those people, even they live in the first world country. You know what? Think about the parents. Like, they have to worry about all these other people, how they actually see them, how they treat them, and this and that. On top of that, you know what? They also get old. What about, the well-being of the kids after they passed away? Or when they get older, they can actually physically help the kids. It's a tough feeling. Like, I can't even imagine what kind of things go through their mind, right? So.
Yeah. No, it's really quite horrible.
Yeah. And like, you know what? If you and I, when we get older, let's say if we have kids, the kids will, do their own thing, take care of themselves and whatnot. In a situation like this, it's not always an option, right? Do you send them to an institution? Not necessary, because they may not be able to actually be qualified for an institution. So you have to take care of them, but physically you're not able to do that, right? I mean, or what if you die? Who's gonna take care of them, right? So there are a lot of what if, and it's just.
I think that also kind of.
That's the whole premise behind Breaking Bad.
Yeah, no, I know, totally. Yeah,
which is awesome.
Well, I've never seen it, so it's an illusion that's lost on me.
But I feel like all of these people who are behaving this way towards this poor kid should be sat down to watch Rain Man. Really, just something.
I don't know. It seems to me that even in the sympathy that we're trying to present here, we're kind of treating this kid as a problem, right? Like we're worried about, well, what happens if I die? Who's going to take care of the kid? right? The kid's just a burden. Kid's this, kid is that.
I don't know. I don't think that's.
And I don't know if
that's what we're doing.
if that's necessarily fair or not. But I mean, autism has a wide range of symptoms, right? I mean, just because a person is autistic doesn't mean they need 24-hour supervision.
No, definitely not.
No, I
It's a
totally.
spectrum. It's actually called autistic spectrum disorder.
Yeah, well, okay, Ducky, I agree with you, but I was actually sharing my own cousin's experience and my aunt's experience, right? You know what I mean? So, I mean, because that's actually kind of close to heart. So I just share with you guys. I mean, I wasn't trying to make a general statement at all. It was actually a personal experience with my aunt, and I just want to share with you guys. I mean, you know what? They live in Hong Kong. I mean, it's not a poor place to live. Like, you know, still kind of considered to be a more developed area. But at the same time, social program, everything considered, you still have somebody kind of going through hardship because of all the time and energy they have to put into the situation, right? So
I think the real triumph of this story has been the community response. That this hit the Ottawa Citizen and, you know, the national media probably about 2 or 3 days ago, and since then people have, members of the community, their immediate community and the larger city and whatnot, have been outpouring support for this family. This kid has been celebrated, right? So, you know, this is what we kind of talked about with Ro in a couple of episodes about hate speech. Let it be out there. Don't try to suppress it, because then people get to see what kind of assholes exist, and they get to see how stupid their ideas are, and whether or not they're actually accepted in society. And this is a perfect example of that. That, you know, that community has stood up and said, no, we value these people.
Yeah.
And you can take your opinions and stuff.
I saw this fantastic thing on the on Facebook the other day. There's somebody wearing a T-shirt that said, "Autism is not a tragedy. Running out of bacon is." Also, ignorance, but mostly the bacon thing, which I thought was quite quite fantastic, because I mean, it's really easy to sort of pity people who have disabilities of one kind or another, and you know, while certainly one should empathise with people who don't have it easy, it doesn't mean that it has to be a tragic, horrible thing. You know, those poor parents and that poor child and blah blah. Kid's probably doing just fine. You know, as long as and the parents, it's not a burden. It's just a different life.
Yeah, it's a different.
It doesn't have to be a tragedy if you
want
don't want it to be. No, it's challenging, but it doesn't have to be a tragedy if you don't want it to be.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just kind of reading the letter right now. I'm also kind of thinking, wow, you know what? It must have been really hard for the neighbor as well.
Well, here,
I mean, like, you know what? On a personal level, I mean, think about it. If you have a neighbor, you know, making a lot of noise and whatnot. Okay,
Right.
granted, I'm not saying this is actually a right way to handle the whole situation, but it is also, you know, it's not hard to actually imagine. You know, the neighbor may have been, you know, kind of disturbed by all the noise and whatnot as well, right? So
Yeah, it doesn't really justify things like that. Leslie,
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but let Ducky get a word in there.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Let me be cynical here for a second and just run on the other side here. What if it's a fraud? The letter's anonymous, right? Typewritten or computer printed, so there's no handwriting involved. What if this is just a ploy by the family to get sympathy for the child?
no,
That's possible.
Then they won't get the police involved, would they?
I don't think so.
Oh, of course.
Because you know what? They get the police involved now.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they filed the complaint.
Yeah.
No, I think they did.
Yeah,
They
but
actually brought it to the police.
here's the scenario. They go to the media first, and then it causes an uproar, and, you know, it ends up in the hands of the police, because the police start investigating due to complaints and concerns by... I mean, it's not entirely hard to see it getting out of control.
Yeah, because you've seen this kind of thing before, where somebody has come out as a, you know, expressed that they're a victim of some kind of harassment or discrimination, and then it later on turns out that they themselves orchestrated all of the harassment in order to garner sympathy from the masses, right?
I think what
like I said, it's unlikely. It's unlikely, and it's incredibly cynical to believe
very
that could
cynical.
happen. But
No, it's skeptical. It's very reasonable to think that, but to prioritize that idea over what is being presented is cynical.
Yes.
well,
I think that we have to say, you know what, this is a possibility, but we can't prove a negative.
yeah, it seems to be the one.
Or
It
disproven.
seems to be just the one option or the one sort of situation that we're not considering at all. Right, we're taking it on face value, and
I think that this kind of
Actually,
thing,
you know
once if you're actually faced with the people who, I mean, I think it's easy for us here to sit here and say that, oh, it could be a ploy and blah, blah, blah. I think if we were actually talking to this kid's family, then we'd have a different perspective, because people can read people.
It become personal.
And people can read people. It's not, we're not, you know, we're not completely...
And Ducky,
I'm not
blocked.
asserting that this is what's happening. I'm just saying that we need to. I mean, a lot of this outpouring is just running under the assumption that this is as they say it is, right?
Yeah.
you know what, Ducky? I actually have to use Will's statement before. You know, there's some decency in each one of us. So, you know.
He's not disputing that. What he's saying is just be open to the possibility.
I know, I'm just...
And it would be irresponsible not to be. I don't think we should champion the idea. But, I mean, there are consequences for this type of thing. If that turns out to be the case, then they'll probably be charged with criminal mischief, right?
Yeah.
But it's not likely to be so.
Yeah.
And it would be quite offensive if it were so.
Yeah.
I think even more offensive than the original letter, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Sure.
but I don't get that sense, and I don't think most people get that sense. And I think it's given us the chance to have that discussion as a society, and, you know, just even the four of us, right?
Yeah.
It's been all over Facebook, I know that.
I mean, to me, no matter what, I don't think that's appropriate at all. It should be condemned. But in a way, I just thought also, it just kind of reminded me of my aunt's experience. So I just want to share with you guys this.
I kind of think that even if this is just a ploy from the family to get sympathy and blah 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 blah, okay, that would really suck and be quite despicable. But they will still have raised an important issue that's being discussed and that's being, that people are being made aware of it. More people are once again being made aware of autism spectrum disorders and what that's like and what that can be like and how there's a lot of stigma around that. So I think that even if this was employed by the family, I kind of, it would suck, but at least we would have started a really important dialogue.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think there's much point in speculating about it or thinking about it because in the end, who fucking cares? Who gives a shit?
I'm just concerned that all the goodwill that this has raised, if that turns out to be the case, will sour. Which often happens because then it stops being about bigotry and it starts being about fraud and dishonesty and that kind of stuff, right? And people.
But that's why I think we shouldn't speculate over it because if we speculate too much, then people are going to start accusing, and then whether it's true or not, somebody is going to say that this is just a made-up thing.
Well, let's be clear, we're not.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I know you're not. Just my 2 cents.
Yay, 2 cents.
Rich coppers.
2 cents, none the richer. I think that's a band, right?
I don't know.
And I'm still a working man.
Oh, God.
I have to throw it in there.
Yeah, gee, thanks. Because the rest of us are just a bunch of welfare bums. That's great.
I did not say that. Did I say that? Wow. Okay.
I would like to point out that I am unemployed, but I'm not a welfare bum. I'm not on welfare. I just don't have any money.
You know what? Actually, I have to say, and you know what? I should recruit you to Canada. There are a lot of people from the UK, Ireland, move to Calgary to work.
She's not from the UK,
No, I'm from Norway.
Never mind.
That's
There you go.
I'm a Viking.
Oh, okay.
But I'm good here.
Never mind.
I'm good here. I just need to get my music career kickstarted.
But hey, you know what? Viking, very tall people.
Oh my God. I suppose all those short Chinese ones.
You know, I come on, help me out, guys. Here, like seriously, I'm
stay
gonna
away
say.
from that.
No, you keep digging.
Do you know the gay chuck in Ireland or Norway or Europe somewhere? No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. Don't worry about me. I'm crazy.
It feels like we've kind of exhausted the subject a bit. I wondered if I could just share with you guys a couple of things. I've been for once, my boyfriend's actually awake while I'm doing this. So awake or at home, usually he's either working or asleep at this hour. So he's been
Hi, boyfriend.
He's been listening into my side of the conversation and sort of talking to me on Facebook, and he had a few comments about a few of the things that we said. When I said at the beginning that I don't sleep, he says that yes, I do. Sure you do. He says that I sleep during daytime in a coffin in unhallowed ground. He would also like to tell me that I shouldn't curse so much, and that I adjective adverbs the way he verbs nouns, and that
Half of our audience is going to be like, what?
and that after my comment about the whaling, that after the Norwegian Icelandic World Revolution, all children will have huge harpoons. That's about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Maia's boyfriend.
You know what?
I'm not sure what to do with that. I'm sorry.
You know what? One day we'll come visit you in person.
Yes, do.
I really like. No way. Like I it's expensive though. So anyway,
It's not that bad.
we talk later. We talk later.
Oh, yeah. No, come visit. That would be really awesome to show you around.
Okay. No, I guess somebody at home is not gonna allow me to go, so it's okay.
He's talking about the cat, by the way.
Aww. Have you got anyone who
How
can
to feed
cat
the cat? Hello.
Have you got anyone who can cat sit for a little while? Leave the cat with Ducky.
Yeah, no. Oh, you should see the picture. Like my cat will get upset if I don't come to bed, and because he likes to sleep on my belly.
Aww.
And if I actually come to bed late, he'll give me this dirty look, nastiest look ever from a cat.
Okay.
It's like, oh, anyway, never mind. Okay, you go.
So that was a lot more abrupt than I intended.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Well, we're approaching the end of the show. So yay! It was a good show. Not bad for I have no idea what we're doing or who we're talking to. It was another one of those, but you know,
That's alright.
kind of worked out in the end. So I've thought of a new game that I want our audience to start playing with me.
Oh?
Because you know, over the months I've been kind of going through the search engine or the server log, seeing what people are using to hit the site, and I'm just curious as to what creative phrases will prompt Google to direct people to the hardly qualified website. And I wanted to lead it off this week with prostitute spying from Slavia. Apparently somebody in Slavia came to hardly qualified looking for information on how to spy on prostitutes. So here's how the game goes. Throw in whatever random, unique... it's basically... it's not Google bombing. There's actually a term for it. I can't remember the name of it. Try to come up with a unique phrase or idea and put it in Google and see if hardly qualified comes up. If it does, click on the link and it'll show up in the server logs, and the best one I'll announce out at every show.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that's kind of
Good
it.
idea. I would like to suggest that people
So we've had, furry fanboys, we've had dog sex, we've had prostitute spying, we've had lingerie and dogs. You know, just
Wow.
be really creative. You don't even have to be like.
Wow.
Do I necessarily want to have
Safe.
my name associated with the site?
I think in addition to this, if people want to, people can play a drinking game to hardly qualified. You know, have a drink every time Will has to mediate. Drain your glass every time Ducky has a meltdown. You know, that sort of thing. Lots of fun.
We're not trying to encourage alcoholics.
Oh yeah, you can do it with you know, club soda. Right.
All right, so that's the hardly qualified game. Play along with me. Go into Google, throw in a search term, see if it brings up our website. The weirder, the better. The most creative entry I'll announce out. Obviously, it'll show up in the server log. So, thanks for playing. Any final thoughts there, Ducky?
No, not really. I got 7 hours worth of work ahead of me still, so.
You sound so tired. Poor dear.
Yeah.
What about you, Tommy?
Well, I am having next week off to write my paper. Yay.
Yay.
I just hope that I'll finish it next week and I have my life back. I really
Yeah, I'm proud of you. I really am. It's been a lot of hard work. And what about you, Maya?
I don't know. I'm probably going to go back to watching The Hour and reading The Thick of It fanfiction because I ran out of episodes and in withdrawal. By the way, everyone should watch The Thick of It because it's brilliant. Every person
What is
alive
The
needs
Thick
to
of It?
see this show. It's a political, sort of almost sitcom thing with no laugh track and no background music and basically just Peter Capaldi shouting abuse at people in his wonderful Scottish accent for about half an hour. It's wonderful. It's about the media and communications and politics and leaking and stuff like that. It's very, very good.
We'll make sure Willie throws up a link to that so we can find it. Well, it was nice spending another couple of hours with y'all. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for listening. And we'll talk to you next week. We're going to leave you off with another Calgary hip-hop group. Rappers, I guess. Yeah, they're rappers. Why not? Aren't most hip-hop people rappers? No, probably not. I don't know. I really have no idea what I'm talking about. But, you know, I like their music, so that's all that really counts. It's Calgary's Obey the Crooks, and the song is Daydream.
They tell me keep dreaming, homie, face it. You can give them everything and still not make it. Whatever, I can still hope, I can still bubble and blow up like soaps. Go pose like Hubble, leave those in puddles. Blitz is back and you know he's trouble. One thing's for sure, life's a goddamn struggle. One night stand so I will not cuddle. You gotta run track like Usain Bolt if you wanna touch gold like 2 Chainz throat. Admit it, I spit it better than half these dudes. I don't gotta dream if I wanna pass these dudes, they dreaming.
Fall asleep to my daydream. Wake up to my nightmare. That dream woman's got it all that I want, even with all that soft blonde hair. I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming. And it's been way too long. I used to daydream before it all came true.
But now grown up, dreams ain't the same no more. Got a quota, we ain't gonna play no more.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
When I blow up, I don't gotta say no more. I just ride like a roller coaster.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
But now grown up, dreams ain't the same no more. Got a quota, we ain't gonna play no more.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
When I blow up, I don't gotta say no more. I just ride like a roller coaster.
They say it won't last, I don't think so. I'ma give them all that, then I'm gonna bring mo bingo. Is this a motherfucking game? Hell no, is this the motherfucking way? And it must be, talking to myself like trust me, I got the rock, don't rush me. Big shit can't flush me, better get the plunger. Like your best friend's sister, dog, you can't touch me. Y'all got a dream to beat me, Dayquil flow please, y'all can't be sleeping. What, y'all ain't peeping? I'ma make you see cheap, this make-believe shit ain't make-believe, you're daydreaming.
I used to daydream before it all came true. I used to daydream before it all came true.
But now grown up, dreams ain't the same no more. Got a quota, we ain't gonna play no more.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
When I blow up, I don't gotta say no more. I just ride like a roller coaster.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
But now grown up, dreams ain't the same no more. Got a quota, we ain't gonna play no more.
I used to daydream before it all came true.
When I blow
Thank you for listening to Hardly Qualified. Remember to check the website at hardlyqualified.ca for news, updates, references, and to learn how to support the podcast. Please review and rate us in iTunes after each episode to help get the word out. If you're a Facebook user, like us and share with your friends and enemies at facebook.com/hardlyqualified, where you can also join in on the conversation. A special thanks to the artists who have donated music to the podcast. We greatly appreciate your work. As always, artists may be found in each episode's reference section. Again, thanks for listening, and remember, knowledge starts with questions. Don't fear them. We'll see you next week.